You feel it first in your body before your mind can even form the thought. That sudden tightness in your chest when the phone rings with an unknown number. The way your stomach drops for no reason in the middle of a perfectly normal afternoon. The restless nights where you lie awake, your mind racing through scenarios that haven't happened and probably never will. You've been told this is anxiety. You've been given names for it: generalized anxiety, social anxiety, panic disorder. You may even have techniques to manage it, breathing exercises and mindfulness apps. But what if the truth is far more interesting and far more human than any clinical label could ever capture? What if this feeling isn't a malfunction, but a message? A desperate, coded message from a part of you that you've been taught to ignore. A part that was formed long ago in the quiet, forgotten rooms of your childhood. This isn't just about stress. This is about a story written in the language of fear. A story your unconscious mind has been trying to get you to read your entire life. Today, we listen to what it's trying to say. Think about the last time you felt that familiar surge of worry. Maybe it was before a meeting at work, or as you were getting ready to go out with friends. Your heart starts to beat a little faster. Your thoughts begin to spiral. What if I say something wrong? What if they notice I'm nervous? What if something bad happens? On the surface, it seems like a reaction to the present moment, a problem happening right now. But if you look closer, you might notice something strange. The intensity of the feeling doesn't always match the situation. A simple email can feel like a life-or-death crisis. A minor social slip-up can replay in your mind for days, coated in a thick layer of shame. This is the first clue that what you're experiencing is not just about the present. It's the echo of something much older. Your conscious mind is trying to solve a problem in front of you, but your unconscious is reacting to a ghost from your past. It's as if you have two different realities operating at once, the one you see and the one you feel. And the one you feel, the one made of pure sensation and dread, is often the more powerful of the two. To understand why this happens, we need to go back to a time when you were small and the world was immense. A time when your survival, both emotional and physical, depended entirely on the adults around you. This is where the blueprint was drawn. Imagine a child who learns, through subtle cues or direct experiences, that love is conditional, that to be safe, you must be quiet, you must be good, you must not make waves. Perhaps a parent was frequently angry, and you learned to read the atmosphere of a room the moment you walked in, your little body tensing, preparing for a storm. Or maybe you had a caregiver who was emotionally absent, and you felt a deep, unspoken loneliness, a sense that you were fundamentally on your own. In these moments, a profound lesson is learned not with words, but with the nervous system. The world is not safe. Your feelings are not safe. Being yourself is not safe. This isn't about blaming parents, who are likely carrying their own unconscious burdens. It's about recognizing the mechanism. A child cannot process the complexity of an adult's emotional world. They can only internalize it. They take the anxiety, the anger, the disappointment of their caregivers, and they make a simple, devastating conclusion. It must be me. I am the problem. This belief doesn't stay in childhood. It gets buried. It gets filed away in the unconscious, a sealed folder labeled "for your own protection." And for years, it works. You grow up, you function. You become an adult who appears to have it all together, but that buried belief doesn't disappear. It becomes a silent director of your life, whispering commands from the shadows. So when you, as an adult, feel your heart pound before speaking in a meeting, it's not really about the meeting. Your unconscious has seen this movie before. It has recognized a pattern, a situation where you are visible, where you could be judged, where you might make a mistake and risk rejection. And the unconscious, in its primitive, protective logic, sounds the alarm. It's trying to save you from a danger that is, to it, very real. The danger of that old childhood wound being reopened. The fear of being found to be the problem all over again. The anxiety you feel is the smoke alarm going off because it smells smoke. The unconscious doesn't know the difference between the smoke of burnt toast and a real house fire. It only knows the smell means potential danger. Your anxiety is that alarm, blaring at the scent of a long-ago fire. You spend your life trying to silence the alarm, to calm your breathing, to talk yourself down. But the unconscious keeps smelling smoke because the source of the smoke, that buried, burning belief, was never put out. It just smolders year after year, waiting for a breeze to make it flare. And so you begin to build a life around the alarm. You arrange your world to avoid the triggers, the situations that make your heart race. You might become a perfectionist, believing that if you can just do everything flawlessly, no one will ever see the problem you suspect you are. You might become a people pleaser, molding yourself to fit what others want because the terror of their disapproval feels like a return to that childhood loneliness. You might avoid intimacy because to be truly seen feels like the ultimate risk. You become an expert in control. You control your schedule, your diet, your words, your emotions. You believe that if you can just maintain enough control, you can outrun the feeling. But the unconscious is not something you can outrun. It is you. And so, the very strategies you use to feel safe become the bars of your own cage. The perfectionism leads to exhaustion and a constant, humming fear of failure. The people-pleasing leads to a quiet resentment and the eerie feeling that no one actually knows you. The avoidance of intimacy leads to a profound isolation. You find yourself stuck in loops. The same arguments with different partners, the same self-sabotaging patterns at work, the same critical voice in your head, the one that sounds suspiciously like a voice from your past. This is what Freud called the repetition compulsion, the unconscious, driven need to replay our old wounds, as if this time we can get a different ending. We are drawn to situations that feel familiar, even if they are painful, because the unknown is more terrifying than the known misery. The cost of this is a slow, quiet collapse. It's not always a dramatic breakdown. More often, it's a deep weariness that coffee can't fix. It's the feeling of being an imposter in your own life. It's the joy that feels just out of reach, muted by a constant background hum of vigilance. You might achieve everything you thought you wanted, the job, the relationship, the lifestyle, and still feel that hollow ache? That sense of, is this all there is? The anxiety has done its job so well, it has walled you off not just from potential danger, but from your own life. You are safe, but you are not living. You are managing. You are surviving. And a part of you knows, in the quietest hours of the night, that you were meant for more than just survival. And then comes the moment of understanding. It doesn't usually arrive with a bang, but with a quiet whisper in the middle of an ordinary day. You're watching a movie, or maybe you're just standing in the shower. A memory surfaces. Not a dramatic one, but a small, forgotten moment. The way your father sighed with disappointment when you brought home a B instead of an A. The tense silence at the dinner table that you, as a child, believed you were responsible for fixing. The time you cried and were told to stop being so sensitive. And in that moment, a connection is made. A wire is joined. The anxiety you feel today, the tightness in your chest, it isn't a random malfunction. It's an echo. It's the ghost of that child still trying to navigate a world that felt too big, too unpredictable. This is the profound shift. It's the realization that you are not broken. You are not defective. You are carrying an old, outdated survival manual written by a scared child who did their best to make sense of a confusing world. The anxiety isn't the enemy. It's a messenger from that child, a desperate attempt to protect you from a pain it believes is still happening. When you feel that irrational fear of being judged, it's not your adult self reacting. It's the part of you that learned long ago that being seen could lead to emotional abandonment. When you feel the need to control every detail, it's the part of you that learned the world was unsafe and chaos was always looming. Understanding this changes everything. It doesn't make the anxiety vanish instantly, but it drains it of its power. The feeling is no longer a mysterious monster under the bed. It has a history, it has a reason, it has a story. And when you can see the story, you can stop fighting the feeling. You can begin to listen to it with curiosity instead of fear. You can say to yourself, this is the old program running. This is the child who felt unsafe. They are trying to help. This separation is everything. It's the difference between being the anxiety and having the anxiety. It's the space where choice is born. You can acknowledge the message from your unconscious without letting it dictate your actions. You can feel the fear and still speak in the meeting. You can sense the urge to people please and still state your own need. So I want to ask you a question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Not with me, but with you. When you feel that next surge of anxiety, that familiar tightness, can you pause for just one moment? If you can look past the immediate trigger, the email, the social event, the deadline, and ask a different question. What is this feeling trying to protect me from? What old story is it replaying? Is it the story of the child who had to be perfect to be loved? The child who had to be quiet to be safe? The child who learned that their needs were a burden? See if you can find the thread. See if you can follow it back. If this quiet truth found a home in you today, if it made something click into place, then this video has done its job. Leave a like if it resonated and subscribe to the channel. We explore these human depths together here. Thank you for listening. This understanding is not a magic cure. It won't stop the heart from pounding or the mind from racing overnight, but it does something far more important. It gives the chaos a name. It gives the ghost a shape. When you can stand in the middle of that familiar storm and say, "This is not about the email. This is the 7-year-old in me who is terrified of making a mistake because a mistake once meant withdrawal of affection," the entire dynamic shifts. The anxiety is no longer a random, terrifying force attacking you from the outside. It becomes a signal, a painful, clumsy, but ultimately meaningful signal from a part of you that has been frozen in time. A part that never got the memo that you are an adult now, that you are safe, that you have resources you didn't have back then. The work then becomes not about silencing that inner child, but about listening to it. It's about turning toward the very feeling you've spent a lifetime running from. When the tightness in your chest appears, instead of immediately reaching for a distraction or a breathing technique to make it go away, you can try something different. You can, in the privacy of your own mind, acknowledge it. You can say, "I feel you. I know you are scared. You are trying to protect me. Thank you." This sounds simple, perhaps too simple, but for the unconscious, this is a revolution. For decades, its messages have been met with rejection, with frustration, with pills, with denial. To finally be met with a moment of recognition, even a quiet internal one, is to begin to heal the split between who you are now and who you had to be to survive. This is where you start to rewrite the manual. You start to provide the safety for yourself that you may not have received consistently as a child. You become the adult for your own inner world. This doesn't mean indulging every fearful thought. It means validating the feeling underneath it. The fear of being judged is, at its core, a longing to be accepted. The need for control is a deep desire for safety. The perfectionism is a wounded plea to be considered good enough. When you see the true desire hidden within the anxious behavior, you can begin to address the desire itself in small, manageable ways in your present life. You can seek out accepting friendships. You can create small rituals that make you feel safe. You can practice being good enough instead of perfect. You are not fighting the anxiety anymore. You are caring for the wound that creates it. And slowly, something begins to change. The alarms don't blare as loudly or as frequently. Not because you've defeated your unconscious, but because you've started a dialogue with it. You've begun to prove to that deepest part of yourself that the world has changed, and more importantly, that you have changed. You are no longer that powerless child. You have a voice. You have agency. You have the capacity to comfort yourself. The unconscious, in its own slow, timeless way, begins to learn. It starts to update its files. It begins to trust that the adult you are now can handle what the child you were then could not. This is where you begin to live with the ghost, instead of running from its shadow. You start to notice the subtle ways your past still whispers in your ear. Not as a command you must obey, but as a story you can now overhear. The tension before sending an email becomes a signal to pause and ask, whose disapproval am I really fearing? The urge to over-prepare for a simple social gathering becomes a moment to whisper to yourself, it's okay, you are allowed to just be here as you are. This is not about winning a war against your own mind. It is about ending the war entirely. It is about laying down the weapons of control and perfectionism and simply sitting with the truth of what was and what is now. So I want to ask you this, in the quiet space between your thoughts, the next time you feel that old, familiar clench of anxiety in your body, can you meet it not as a threat, but as a memory? Can you greet it with a quiet curiosity and ask it gently, what ancient room of my childhood are you calling from? What are you so desperately trying to prevent from happening again? If this quiet truth found a home in you today, if it made something click into place, then this video has done its job. Leave a like if it made you think, and subscribe to the channel. We explore these human depths together here. Thank you for listening. And this is where the real transformation begins, not in a dramatic flash of light, but in the quiet, ordinary moments of your day. You're driving to work, and you feel that old tension in your shoulders, the familiar hum of dread. But this time, instead of trying to push it away or distract yourself with the radio, you let it be there. You notice it. You breathe into it. You don't try to fix it. You simply acknowledge its presence, like an old, familiar guest who has been visiting for years. You realize that this feeling, this anxiety, has been a loyal, if misguided, protector. It was never trying to harm you. It was trying to save you, based on a map of the world that was drawn in a different time, under different stars. It was using the only tools it had, fear, vigilance, control, to keep you safe from dangers that may no longer exist. And in that moment of simple, non-judgmental awareness, something softens. The war inside you begins to quiet. You are no longer fighting a part of yourself. You are listening to it. And in that listening, you find a compassion for yourself that you may have never known was possible. You begin to see that all this time, your unconscious wasn't your enemy. It was a forgotten part of you, calling out from the dark, waiting to be heard, waiting to be brought home. So I want to ask you, in the quiet honesty of your own heart, can you find one small moment today to thank your fear? Not to obey it, but to acknowledge its presence. Can you see the scared child behind the adult worry? And offer it a moment of your quiet, gentle attention. If this quiet truth found a home in you today, if it made something click into place, then this video has done its job. Leave a like if it made you think, and subscribe to the channel. We explore these human depths together here. Thank you for listening.